Heinz Bischitz was born on April 19, 1932 in Oberwaltersdorf. This is a town that is located in Austria. His father, Fritz Bischitz, had a distinct sense of humor, but he also had a bad temper, while his mother, Irene Knopfler-Bischitz, loved to sing Hungarian folk songs. Their family had a car which was Aryanized or stolen by the Nazis in 1938. They were left a very formal note to inform them of this. After the Anschluss, Uncle Oscar, Aunt Magda's Christian husband, brought the family to Hungary. This took several months, and it was done using mostly forged papers. Once there, Heinz's family rented a room in Budapest, and he began first grade at a public school. This required him to pick up Hungarian rather quickly. His mother became a seamstress, while his dad began as a truck driver at a leather factory. Together, they earned enough to eat. The Jewish laws began in 1942. Heinz was interested in politics at a young age, and he secretly listened to Radio London. Their building was declared a Jewish house upon German invasion in 1944. A large Star of David was painted on the side, and many Jews were packed inside. Every morning and evening, the Jews had 2 hours to shop. Heinz's father began as a soldier in the Hungarian army, using fake papers. Upon finding out that he was Jewish, Hungary sent him for labor duty in Russia. As the Russians marched forward, he was able to return to Hungary. During this time, Jewish women, including Heinz's mother, were deported. At this point, there were hardly any men left. The Budapest ghetto was soon created, and this is where Heinz was sent. His Aunt Leona wasn't deported because she was slightly crippled, so she protected Heinz in the ghetto. Uncle Oscar saved Heinz and Aunt Leona from the ghetto upon hearing that the ghetto would be burned. He executed this by marching Heinz out wearing an Arrow Cross jacket while giving the Hail Hitler salute. Once out, Heinz lived in a monastery using forged papers. On Christmas Eve in 1944, 2 weeks after his arrival, the Arrow Cross came to the monastery searching for Jews. They checked to see who was circumcised. Heinz saved himself by yelling that he wanted the Arrow Cross to take all of the Jew pigs, so they did not check him. Immediately following this, Heinz left for his aunt and uncle's home in fear that they would return. Later, he found out that the Arrow Cross returned, and Heinz was the only Jewish boy to survive from that monastery. Uncle Oscar forged papers using stolen stationery from the Japanese embassy, and this enabled him to get Heinz into a Sweden house where he was reunited with his father. For the last few months of the war, they remained there starving. Heinz's family worried that the next world war was coming when the Korean War broke out. They searched for a country that didn't have military service in fear that Heinz would be drafted. This led them to Argentina. Heinz took a few Spanish lessons prior to the move. His family took the train to Genoa, which was followed by a ship to Argentina. A few months later, after her papers were completed, Aunt Leona joined them in Budapest, and they moved there, where Heinz had to readjust to the German language. He was proud to be Jewish, and he told everyone such. War was coming when the Korean War broke out. They searched for a country that didn't have military service and feared that Heinz would be drafted. This led them to Argentina. Heinz took a few Spanish lessons prior to the move. His family took the train to Genoa, which was followed by a ship to Argentina. A few months later, after her papers were completed, Aunt Leona joined them. He began working at a textile print shop because school was not an option. His family opened a knitting factory that the whole family, including Heinz's wife after they were married, worked at. Heinz met his wife through one of the new immigrants that moved into his building. His wife's maiden name was Ida Lubowicz, and she was born in what was previously part of Poland in 1937. Up until the end of the war, she hid with her parents in Poland. Together, Heinz and his wife had 2 children, Roberto and Deborah, who were both raised Jewish. The Argentinian economy became progressively worse, so in 1984, the family relocated to Vienna. There, Heinz worked as a sales representative. Heinz's son married an Argentine Christian at the age of 25. They moved to Vienna with the family. Together they had a daughter, Natasha, but after Roberto and his wife split, his wife and his daughter returned to Argentina. Deborah also returned to Argentina. Heinz hates the Hungarians. To him, the Hungarians are the Nazis. On the day after liberation, Heinz beat up the boys who tortured him in school for being Jewish. Heinz loves Vienna. He said he felt at home after returning there. To quote Heinz Bischitz, "There has and always will be anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism isn't a problem with the Jews, it's a problem with the anti-Semites. only we have to live with it.